Hello again, friends, and welcome to another fine edition of 151. My name is Adam, and this is a special side jobs edition of the show. Justin usually joins me, but believe it or not, he's actually a little under the weather right now. No, it is not the coronavirus. It is not COVID-19. But we do wish him the best.
Justin does not have the Rona.
No, he does not. And that voice you're hearing in the background, since this is a special side jobs edition, joining me on the show tonight is my buddy Michael Reyes. Hey, Mike.
Hey, Adam. I actually get to call you Adam on this show.
I know, it's crazy, right? For those of you who don't know or just aren't privy to the information, Mike actually joins me on the radio side of things once a week to do kind of a movie review thing. Although this year it's been mostly movie news because of the before-mentioned COVID-19, the Rona.
Yeah, the Rona.
The Rona, but we'll get to that here in a second. If Mike will shut the up for 2 seconds, I'll do the intro and then we'll get going. Oh, wow. This is 151. We're sponsored by Skeleton Wine. You can find out more about them at skeletonwine.com or on their Facebook page at Skeleton Vineyards. As for us, you can find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, all at 151 The Show. And we hope that you subscribe, like, follow, share, rate, and do all that cool stuff over on Podbean, iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, YouTube, and every other channel we are a part of. If you missed any of that information, you can head over to 151theshow.com or this station's website.com for all of the information. Like I said, Mike Reyes is joining me tonight. Mike joined me, I believe it was last year. He's from CinemaBlend.com. You can find him on social media at Mr. Controversy 83. He knows a lot about movies, and he's kind of a big deal because he works for CinemaBlend, so that's why he's with us.
I mean, I guess I'm kind of a big deal. I'm still getting there. You know, I can't just command an interview and people will show up, but you know, I'm doing okay.
Who's the last person you interviewed? Let's start there.
Oh, I think it was Bella Thorne.
Really?
No, it wasn't. No, Bella Thorne. No, yeah, it was. Because I went on vacation last week, and I had 2 interviews on Monday. I got to talk with Douglas Wick, who's a producer of such fine films as Gladiator and Hollow Man.
Cool.
And in that evening, I got to talk to Bella Thorne because she has a new movie out in drive-ins and VOD right now called Infamous.
Any good?
It's okay. I will say that she gives a very strong performance in it, and it's very much Bonnie and Clyde for the Instagram age. But I was amazed by the interview that we had because she just was so much fun to talk to.
Oh, that's
cool.
It's
not like I was, it's not like I was expecting it to be bad or anything, but it's just with interviews sometimes it can be pretty formal and polite, and oh yes, that's very good. That's a good point. It's like not a bad interview, but this was she was a little more of a firecracker when it came to the interview, and she was very, very cool.
That's good. It's always fun to get an interview where you can get a person to do that sort of thing. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
Where it's not just, hey, ask your 3 questions and get the hell off the stage or get off the phone. But it's you can actually sit down, have a legit conversation with somebody, and get some real good information out of them.
Oh yeah, no, I've definitely found that the most times that I've had that happen are either through phone interviews, because on the radio show we had talked about I got to talk to Bill Pullman not too long ago. That was one of the best interviews I've ever had, and that was a phoner. But like when you get someone really on, or you get like a double slot where you can talk to someone longer. Those are the best for me because the first couple questions you can warm up.
Yeah.
And it's not like the usual, okay, you've got 5 minutes, which means we're going to record you for 3.5, and then we're going to cut you early, and then you're going to, you'll have some decent stuff, but it's not the same as, sitting there for 8 minutes with anyone.
That's why you always ask, do you have a heart out?
Oh.
You don't ask that?
Well, no, because usually they'll just tell us, like, okay, you just watch for the signal.
Oh, wow.
They'll have someone timing in the room, and then they'll have someone,
okay, yeah, well, for radio, we usually have, it'll be like a producer or something calls, and they'll go, hey, I've got, Bella Thorne on the line. Okay, cool. But, other ones, it's like, hey, like I did a interview with Matt Nelson from Nelson the other day.
Oh, I thought I saw that.
Yeah, which Matt is a great, great interview. But I asked him, at the beginning, it's like, hey, man, do you got a heart out? And he's like, no, not really. I mean, I go, so 3 hours is cool? And he's like, no, it will not be 3 hours. But no, it was one of those days where I was on the phone with Matt Nelson from Nelson, the 80s band, 80s, 90s band, for an hour the other day. And we were just talking.
I love when there isn't a hard out, because even with phoners, they'll jump in and say, okay, we have time for one more question.
Yep.
Sometimes. But, Bill Pullman was one of them. I got a couple people from that freeform show, Motherland, Fort Salem, on the phone. And it basically went without anyone interrupting. It's like, wow, I've asked all my questions, even like the ones I didn't think I was going to get to. So let's see what little extra juice can I get out of it? And then eventually it's just like, oh, okay. The conversation has taken its natural course. This has been great. Thank you very much.
You know who the worst handler I've ever seen was?
No.
Billy Dean Williams. Is that how you say it? Lando?
Yeah.
So we were at Comic-Con, me and a buddy. This was in Des Moines a couple years ago. This was before Star Wars stuff had come out. And Billy was there, right? And his handler, and this isn't like an interview or anything like this. This is like legitimately in front of a crowd, okay? Dude comes out, and he's got like this Sergeant Pepper's coat on, which was weird to begin with. And then he comes out on the stage, and before Billy comes out, he goes, and this is how he talked, okay? We're not going to ask Billy any stupid questions about Star Wars, and we're not going to do this, and we're not going to ask dumb questions, and like just kind of treating the audience badly. It's like, if Lando Calrissian is coming out on the stage, you better damn well bet I'm going to ask him about Star Wars, you know?
Yeah, you're at a Comic-Con. People are going to want to ask about Star Wars. You're not at like a liquor convention where people are going to want to talk about like his Colt 45 campaign, or I'm sure there's plenty of other stuff that he would love to talk about, but you can't. Even if the man had starred in every movie in the world, the fact still remains that you're at a Comic-Con. People are going to want to talk about Star Wars.
It's one of those moments I'll never forget, because I'll never forget how that guy sounded and how he came off to the crowd, because it was like, really? That's how you're going to start this?
It almost sounded like a really bitchy character Paul Lynde would have played.
Maybe. But I'll tell you one other thing. From that Comic-Con, William Shatner was also at that one, right?
Oh, boy.
And I've told this story before on, this and on the radio and stuff, but William Shatner is either the greatest storyteller of all time or the worst storyteller of all time, all right? Because if you take a story and go from, like, point A is the start and point Z is the ending, right?
Yeah.
Closest way to get there is just walk in a straight line, right? The way William Shatner tells a story is he starts at A, and he'll walk all the way around the house, outside the house. He'll go down to the gas station. He'll come back. He'll do this. He'll do this. He'll go back to the gas station, come back, and then all of a sudden he's at Z and the story wraps up. All right?
Huh.
So it was the weirdest thing. At one point during his Comic-Con thing, I lean over to Justin, who I usually do the show with, and I go, what in the is he talking about? And then magically the story wrapped up and it was perfect.
Well, the man is a writer, so I wouldn't be surprised if that just...
Yeah.
That it's very uneven, and I guess that's kind of like, you even look at his work. Like, the man wrote and directed Star Trek V and, did series of novels and such.
Oh, Justin and I hold Star Trek V in a very, very special light. And by the way, I apologize if anybody can hear the kids screaming in the background. I'm assuming it is bedtime, and the wife is putting him to bed right now. All I can hear coming from the upstairs is just him wailing away. So I apologize if anybody else hears that. Anyways, this is a special Side Jobs edition of 151. My name is Adam. I'm being joined by Michael Reyes from CinemaBlend.com. Tonight, you can find him on social media at Mr. Controversy 83. As for us, you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, all at 151 The Show. And we hope that you subscribe, like, and share, and do all that cool stuff to Podbean, iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, YouTube, and I even submitted us for TuneIn earlier today, so we'll see what happens with that. 151theshow.com and this station's website.com for all the other information. Mike, let's talk about movies. As we get back into it, we had a nice little chat there, but there is a point to you being on tonight.
I thought it was just because you like my company, but I do understand that you brought a movie guy on to talk about movies. It's kind of, after the chit-chat's done, this is where we got to go.
I was going to say, I would imagine I do like you because I hand-carved you a magic wand.
You did. You hand-carved 2 magic wands.
Yes, and mailed them to you.
One for my lovely wife.
During the time of Corona, I send you a nice little get-well package, or just a happy package, I should call it.
Yeah, and it was pretty damn awesome.
So anyways, yes, I do like you, Mike. So movie stuff, boy, did you ever think that 2020 was going to be like this in regards to movies?
Oh, man, no. I mean, let me tell you, I won't reveal the movie that I was set up for, but literally right before everything shut down, business was still sort of going as usual, and I was set for my first big trip out of the country this year.
Because you've taken a lot of trips to, like, England and stuff for movie premieres, correct?
For like set visits and junkets, yeah, no, not a premiere yet. I mean, hopefully at some point, but this was going to be like the first big one for this year. And literally weeks before that, I was in New York doing the junket for the way back, and it's like cool, you picture that first week before everything shut down.
Okay,
the way back's already out. Disney just dropped Onward. Bloodshot and The Hunt were like 2 of the last movies that actually got wide releases before all the major theaters just basically shuttered.
Yeah.
So it was at a point where like, okay, we're still looking at business as usual, and all of a sudden, boom, major theaters are closed, stuff's going to VOD early, and no one could imagine that we would be seeing movies premiere that way. I'm sure parents were still thinking they were going to bring their kids to see Scoob in a movie theater.
I was thinking about that the other day, because when all this stuff kind of came down, it was so fast. Because I remember, the one that I was kind of looking at was like the Big 10 and Big 12 tournaments. They got shut down, and then it was like, wow, is the NCAA tournament going to shut down? And then that's not happening. And then all of a sudden, we're in lockdown, and I'm being given essential worker papers,
Yeah.
Going back a year, I mean, when you looked ahead to 2020, what do you think would have been the big headline at this point? How are you setting up for it, the year to be?
I know one of the things I was looking forward to the most was No Time to Die premiering in theaters, because it's James Bond. It's Daniel Craig's final movie as James Bond. It's the 25th one in the series. That's kind of become one. It kind of became one of my big beats over at CinemaBlend, and now it officially has become one of my beats, because we're starting to get people more into the groove of being experts in things that they're already interested in. And that was definitely one of the big ones I was looking forward to. I'm trying to think of what else was like. There was like so many big movies that were supposed to be happening this summer.
I remember in 2019, everybody was looking so forward to Endgame coming out.
Yeah.
That was the end-all, be-all of movies, I think, for that. Or at least that's the one that was getting the most press, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
that was the movie to beat last year.
What was going to be the movie to beat in 2020? Was it the Bond movie or something else?
See, I don't know what the movie to beat would have been, but already we're in a year where we were a week away from Mulan was already supposed to be out by now.
Yeah.
The week before that, a week or two before that came out, it was postponed. Well, we were supposed to have Tenet earlier than we're getting it.
Yeah.
Pixar was already supposed to have another movie out by now, Soul, which has been pushed to the fall. We're at a point right now where the big fixtures, we've gone so long without a new one. We have not had a new Marvel movie this year.
Didn't we have that conversation that it might have been in Marvel's best interest to take a little breath?
I think we did. And I still stand by that, because you want to put something as big as Endgame out. I mean, it was already enough that you're shoehorning Spider-Man in as the end of the phase.
Yeah,
and that really felt like a movie that should begin a new phase. But now you had like Black Widow coming so quickly after she dies on camera.
Did Black Widow come out yet?
It was supposed to have been out on May 1st, and now it's pushed to November.
Okay.
And who knows if that'll even stand.
Yeah, that's kind of the other thing about this, because, around here, at least in Iowa, you're starting to see some movie theaters opening back up. Things are starting to loosen a little bit. I don't know. Are they still pretty much locked down where you are?
For the most part, yeah. I don't know if there's any indie chains that are open right now, but I know like one of our indies I think all of them are shuttered at this point, because there's an indie theater by me that every time we drive past it to go to the supermarket, there's no posters up, no lights on inside, except for the freestyle machines. And I still the standee that says April 2020 for No Time to Die. And it's like, I want that standee as a collector.
That is the way to do it. You were right about Mulan. Tenet was supposed to be out. Which that one didn't get pushed very much. Its original release date was July 17th.
But now there's a rumor that it might be pushing to August again.
Oh, really?
Which, see, that's an interesting thing, because a lot of studios have had to play musical chairs with their schedule, thanks to pushing certain movies away.
Yeah.
Disney pushed Mulan to July 24th, which then pushed Soul into November. They released Artemis Fowl on Disney+. And now a lot of studios are deciding what goes to VOD, what stays on the traditional schedule, because you can only push so many movies into 2021.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of looking at some of the ones that are unchanged. Coming to America, end of the year, Dune, Top Gun, Maverick.
Yeah, most of the end of the year. Well, that was originally supposed to be out in July, I think.
Top Gun? Oh yeah, June 24th. Yep. Yeah, it would have been out yesterday.
Oh man, we would have been in the middle of Top Gun Maverick fever right now, and I was excited for that because I went to a cocktail party for that. Well, you know what else is interesting when we're talking about these postponements is SpongeBob got moved to next year, and it's going to premium VOD.
There's another SpongeBob movie coming out?
Okay, so here's a fun story. That movie was supposed to be out last year.
Oh,
God. Bounced it around a couple times in 2019. It's like, what? 2020 is our year. And then initially they're like, August. Then they're like, no, you know what? We're going to go February. No, wait, you know what? May. May is going to be it. Then COVID happens. And they're like, okay, we're going to push it to the end of July. Okay, no, we're going to go back to August now.
Oh, wow.
And finally, a couple days ago, they just said, you know what? Going to premium VOD, and then it's going to be a CBS All Access streaming debut.
We're going to melt your mind on this. We're actually going to go back and release it in 2018.
No, that's Christopher Nolan's strategy for Tenet.
Okay.
I almost called it Inception, but
it's probably the same damn movie.
Well, apparently the two movies are very closely related, and that's been the huge pivot point for the year. That has been the film that everybody has basically looked at as the sticking post for sort of the North Star for where are we heading. Because for the longest time, Warner Brothers kept saying it's going to be the 17th, it's going to be July 17th.
Yeah.
We're not moving from. And then finally, a couple weeks ago, it's like, okay, we're doing July 31st. And from what I understand, that was mostly because Christopher Nolan really wanted to still keep the movie released in a sharpish frame from when it was originally supposed to be out. Like, apparently, this is all scuttlebutt from what I've heard. The studio apparently was okay with releasing the film later, and he really wanted to keep it as close to the original date as possible.
So there's a plan there.
I don't know. I mean, for now there's a plan, but I don't know where it's going from this point because I think they're going to watch the news very carefully. And from what's been in the news lately, it's starting to look like we're going to get a later restart. It's going to be later in the year, potentially.
Yeah, it's kind of like everybody's kind of hinting around that we think round 2's coming, but nobody wants to throw it out there where 2020 can hear it, because then 2020 will not only give us round 2, but round 4 and 15.
It's hard to get to round 2 when round 1 really hasn't ended.
Yeah, so Mike Reyes from CinemaBlend.com joining me on the line right now. This is 151, a special side jobs edition of the show. We'll have all of Mike's information at the bottom of the page, along with us as well. We are sponsored by Skeleton Wine. Find out more about them at their website, skeletonwine.com, or on their Facebook page at Skeleton Vineyards. So, Mike, now that we've talked a little bit about some of the postponements and stuff, let's go down the road of this, and this is going to be maybe kind of hard, or maybe it'll be super easy. I'm not really sure, okay?
Okay.
Who's the big winner from all this situation with, all the delays and everything that's happened to with COVID-19, and who's the biggest loser? And if you say the people, I'm gonna drive to New Jersey and slap you.
Oh, yes, Bishops, the people. Gotham is yours. Take it.
Oh, yes. Getting back to the question, who are the big winners and losers? Because I can tell you one winner right now. It's Disney. And I'll tell you why, because that Artemis Fowl movie is the worst movie I've seen in a very long time. And to be able to luck out and just be like, you know what, we're just going to throw that on VOD, that's pretty lucky.
Not when you consider they've lost over $1 billion. I think it's over $1 billion, or they've lost quite a bit of money on the shutdown with theme parks and with home video, with film. They had to rush onward onto premium VOD and DVD and Disney Plus. Like, that's a side win.
It's Disney money they're throwing around.
And now they're delaying the park opening again. Now that I'm thinking about it.
Yeah, but you know what? Part of me thinks that's safe.
You think that's fake?
Safe.
Oh, safe? Oh, no, that is safe. That is safe. That is sane.
No, that's fake. Fake news, Mike Reyes. Jeez.
All right. So a big loser, I would say, we'll start with the losers. The big losers, honestly, are the movie theaters. Because you've seen reports of AMC was in heavy doubt that they would be able to operate past July without reopening. You've got all three of these, and then any time a major movie theater chain decides to make a decision on anything, it's going to go through if it's the wrong decision according to the internet, they're going to hear it.
Yeah.
They reverse course on not enforcing masks in their theaters, in almost the next day, after the internet basically said no. Why are you doing this?
Yeah.
And even with the safety measures that they're putting in now. Like, you see this video of Cinemark with one of their ticket takers, spraying down the seats. Some people are like, you know what, even in the safest conditions, I don't think I'm ready for this because I don't think I can watch a movie without thinking in the back of my mind I might get sick.
Well, that's the thing about it. I mean, you think about it, and any time that there has been, and at least around here it seems like, anytime they've been like, oh, hey, we're going to open something up, or there was just a story in the news today from around here that they've been doing high school baseball at one of the AAA parks in town because they can, spread people out and all that. And
wow.
Yeah, so they started doing it. Hey, everything's working real well, and then 2 games get canceled because staffers have COVID. They did the thing where, hey, we're going to allow college athletes to come back to campus to start working out. Guess what? LSU's got 30-some people quarantined for COVID. K-State's in the same boat. Just all this stuff. It seems like as soon as they open something back up, or they're like, hey, we're going to give it a go, it gets shut down really fast.
Yeah, and one would think that we would have learned that from China when they reopened movie theaters earlier in the year and then shut them down really quickly.
I don't know, man. It just seems... The theater thing makes sense, though, because, let's face it, production studios, they're going to be... they'll lose some money. Will they be fine? Probably. I don't see Warner Brothers going out of business anytime soon, right?
Nah. And honestly, the big... That'll be towards the winners. Because we'll get into that with the winners. But the whole thing with the losers is, I think, the big losers are the movie theaters for the sheer fact that they are... Unfortunately, they are bleeding money.
Yeah.
And all I can say is I've told you this time and again when we do the radio show, but the big thing theaters could be doing right now is those that have VOD programs.
Yeah.
Like AMC, for instance, has an on-demand library. They could have kept their paying subscribers pivoted. They could have pivoted their subscribers to that, and I would have still paid $25 a month if that meant I could watch a certain number of older titles, like even if they just kept it at the old benchmark where it's 3 titles a week, I would have watched 3 movies a week on their on-demand, and especially if they were the ones, they would include like Invisible Man or Birds of Prey, who went early, or if they had Scoob, which debuted on there.
Yeah.
Like if it was basically the same, it was probably because they would have needed to renegotiate things with the studios, because there's probably no existing precedent for that. But if they could have made a deal with the studios, you could have kept that going, and you would have had some sort of revenue stream coming in. And in a hat tip to the winners I'm going to talk about, what they could have done is, I have a huge local AMC by me, the Hamilton 24.
Yeah.
They have a giant parking lot. If they really wanted to, they probably could have licensed old library titles like they're going to do to reopen the theaters, and they could have done drive-in shows and then had the concession stand working, and they could have done curbside concessions.
Yeah. Michael Reyes from CinemaBlend.com joining me on a special Side Jobs edition of 151. You can find out everything you need to know about us at 151theshow.com or this station's website.com. What's that?
Guess what?
What?
Tenet just got pushed back again.
Did it really?
August 12th.
Wow. Breaking news.
Just came through. Warner Brothers is committed to bringing Tenet to audiences in theaters on the big screen when exhibitors are ready and public health officials say it's time, a Warner Brothers spokesperson said in a statement. This just came through from Variety.
I like how I like the funny part about all this is that we're just taking guesses. Yeah, we're going to push it back to August 12th. That sound good to everybody? Yeah, sure. Let's do August 12th. Okay, August 12th.
Well, they're trying. I see the whole thing is they don't want to come flat out say, they don't want to move it too far for the sheer fact that if it looks like we're going into another slump without films, everybody's stocks are going to sink.
Yeah.
Especially the theaters. The theaters are really banking on all this stuff coming soon. And they'll still be okay because they're going to have a whatchamacallit. They're probably going to have all those older titles coming up.
Yeah.
That they were already planning on opening with older movies to begin with for a couple weeks. So they'll probably still do that now. And see how long it takes for people to feel safe before they come out to the movies again.
Here's your old movie foreplay, baby. How's that? Get you nice and warmed up before we shove Tenet in your face.
Oh, come on. They said Inception was supposed to be coming out in a 10th anniversary re-release on July 10th to get everybody warmed up. And now that's been moved to July 31st.
So it's not even the anniversary anymore. Anyways, Mike, as we're getting a little long in the tooth here, the original question, who's the loser? Who's the winner in this?
I think the winners are, first winner, streaming services. And it's a funny thing you mentioned Warner Brothers because they kicked off HBO Max in the middle of all this. And guess what's going to HBO Max tomorrow?
What's that?
Scoob.
Is it really?
And I'm going to watch Scoob on HBO. Yeah, that was another thing that they did really quickly was they randomly announced a couple weeks ago, oh, by the way, Scoob's going to HBO Max June 26th. And I'm like, sold. I'm watching it now.
All right, Mike Reyes from CinemaBlend.com. So the real winner, the losers are the theaters. The winners are the streaming services. Let me ask you this. And what?
And the drive-in.
And the drive. Oh, yeah, that's a lost art that's coming back.
There are pop-up drive-ins, which frankly, it's a cool idea, except for the sheer fact that there's very limited capacity for the cars. And I know around by us in Jersey, you have to register ahead of time.
Yeah.
And they fill up quickly. And then there's one drive-in theater here where it's like same price as a movie theater, $11 a person. If you want to bring your own food, it's $20 for a food pass.
How the hell are they going to know?
I know. But anyway, that's another big winner because drive-ins are still operating. And another good big winner is indie movies because you've got movies like Infamous or IFC Midnight's The Wretched still opening on drive-in screens, giving people the retro experience. And do you know what the number one movie was last week?
What?
Jurassic Park.
Oh, really? Was it?
Jurassic Park topped the box office for the first time in, decades.
A buddy of mine who lives out in New York, he went and saw that at he saw a double feature of Jurassic Park and Jaws at the drive-in.
I want that double feature.
I forget. Yeah, I forget where he's at in New York, but he's out that way, and he had pictures up and everything. So
I want to open a drive-in theater, because even when it's safe, this is something we should not have let go of. And this is something that the movie theater, the movie exhibition industry really needs to keep in mind. There is a special courtship between people and the movies. And I have seen movie theaters go from, again, neon arcade games and really cool decor to looking like it was designed and built as a prefab Home Depot contraption.
Yeah.
I want fun. I want excitement. I want premium format. And in the case of drive-ins, I would love to every now and then go to a local drive-in and see a classic or see a new movie without having to drive an hour to South Jersey or drive an hour and a half up to New York, because we only have one drive-in theater in Jersey.
I think we have one. I think it's over in Newton. Truth be told, I don't know if I've ever been to a drive-in.
I've been to, like, township pop-up ones. Like, I remember going to see the Avengers with friends, and, there were no concessions. It was free. You just parked by the beach, and, they have movies on the beach, too, where it's kind of like a drive-in that you just sit on the beach and watch the movies. But, that's something else that isn't happening because COVID.
Yeah.
And you just stand there as a drive-in theater owner and probably think, well, don't you feel sorry?
What if you were the drive-in owner that shut it down like a month before Corona?
I wouldn't be surprised. I would hope they're able to get it back on short notice. Like, you could probably contact your old staff and say, look, you got to come back.
Yeah.
Like, unless they really couldn't pay to keep everything, they'd be like, okay, open it up, let's go.
Yeah. Huh. That's interesting. I never would have. It makes complete sense, but if you would have asked me who the winner is during this whole thing, I wouldn't have gone drive-ins. So.
And indie movies too, indie theaters too, because we have one by there's one in Jersey that I know of. They were doing a survey. They're like, look, we don't know when we're opening. Here are the things we're considering. We're considering when the state says we can open up, when we feel we can be safe for our patrons and our employees, and when we can just basically they have certain criteria. And they sent out a survey to their email members, and they're like, how important is this to you? And it was everything from offering concessions to cashless transactions to would you rather do your tickets only online and no box office? Like, they were asking a lot of really good questions. And then in the end, they're like, oh, leave some comments. And I was like, thank you for considering this.
Yeah.
When you open up, we're there.
It's just
they are not for profit.
Well, the whole thing, like me thinking about movies right now, the box office stuff doesn't bother me. The bathroom stuff doesn't bother me. The concessions don't bother me. It's the sitting in the room for 2 hours with someone who potentially had. I mean, it's like, how do you counteract that part of it,
I know. It's ultimately the worry.
I mean, at this point, if one of the movie theaters, like an AMC or something, came up with like little privacy pods or something that they could retrofit a theater with, they'd probably make some money.
Well, see, that's what I thought I heard Cinemark was going to do, because when they announced they were going maskless, I heard something about, or maybe I just misread this or something, but I heard there was mention of like having plexiglass dividers. Yeah,
but you're still in the same room.
Yeah. No, I definitely get that. And plus, everyone wonders how the air is circulated in there and everything that goes with that.
Every time I see the plexiglass divider, whether I'm going to a gas station or, I've seen them at the hardware store, I've seen them at the thing, I'm like, really? That's your answer to this? Is a 3x3 piece of plexiglass that's going to stop the coronavirus dead in its tracks? Okay.
Well, yeah, but that plexiglass has a picture of Henry Cavill on it. The coronavirus protects Superman. It means hope.
And on that note, Mike Reyes from CinemaBlend.com joins me on a special Side Jobs edition of 151. My name is Adam. You can find out more about us at 151theshow.com or on this station's website.com. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, all at 151 The Show. And we hope that you subscribe to us on Podbean, iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, YouTube, possibly TuneIn if that happens here in the near future. And please rate us, follow us, share us, do all that. We'll have all of Mike's information at the bottom of the page. You can find him on social media at Mr. Controversy 83 or search for him on CinemaBlend.com. Mike, thank you so much, man.
Adam, I am always glad to be on here. I'm always glad to talk to you, and I'm especially glad to know that you're staying safe.
There you go. All right, everybody, have a great rest of the night. And don't forget, we're sponsored by Skeleton Wine. You can find out more about them on their website, skeletonwine.com, or on their Facebook page at Skeleton Vineyards. All right, friends, this has been a special Side Jobs edition of 151. We'll see you next time.